Hey friends, welcome back to the StudyTube project. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you something else completely useless to add on to what we learned last week about how to make stuff disappear. I'm going to be teaching you how to roll a coin across your knuckles like this. I've heard that doing this sort of thing makes people want to be your friend because then they see that you have a cool skill and then they ask you, how did you learn to do that? Or can you teach me how to do that? And then you teach them and then you never hear from them again. But for some people it works to build friends. Anyway, I'm going to be teaching this to you straight after this intro. Okay, so this is the coin roll. This is like just a little flourish. It's not really a magic trick, but I learned it when I was doing close-up magic. I think I learned this in like year 13 at the age of 18. And I practiced it for absolutely ages. And while I used to be on the computer kind of with a mouse in one hand, I would often just grab a coin and coin roll with the other hand, which is why I've gotten quite good at doing it with my left hand, but perhaps not very good at doing it with the right. Yeah, it's a bit less smooth with the right hand, but the mechanics is basically the same. Anyway, basically this is what I'm going to be teaching you in this video. So let's zoom the camera in. So this is what it looks like close up. This is sort of what it looks like. It looks kind of cool. I think it looks kind of cool. It makes my hand sort of feel like a spider. It makes me feel like an absolute legend. Firstly, you want to have your hand in this like fist-like position. So where your knuckles are parallel to the floor, they are parallel to the roof. So your knuckles are sort of like this. And that means when you've got the coin on the top of the knuckles, it can balance by itself. If you have your knuckles in a weird position, then you probably could still, it would be a lot harder for the coin to balance. Basically, you want the coin to sort of be resting at the top of your knuckles, so that then when you're moving it around, it works. So yeah, knuckles perpendicular to the ceiling. Also, knuckles in the form of knuckles, not in the form of straight lines. People make the mistake of trying to learn the trick like this by sort of doing it with straight fingers, and I think it's a lot harder. It looks more cool if you have it in sort of knuckle format. The first step is to put the coin, and I'm going to use my right hand for this because I'm worse at doing it, is to kind of just rest the coin on your index finger. And you want to try and get this move down where you transfer from one finger to the next. And you do that by sort of hitting it against the side of your middle finger and moving it across. And then let's try that again. This is going to take a bit of practice, but it's worth it because then you look like an absolute badass when you can do this. Let's start again on the index finger. And then I am like grabbing it with the side of my middle finger, and it's sort of going over the edge. Ugh, there we go. A lot of people get stuck at this point, but there is a knack to it. It is a sort of momentum thing whereby this knuckle kind of goes up. So middle finger grabs it, and then this initial knuckle sort of goes up to help sort of push it over the edge. And now we have it resting on the middle finger. Now, as soon as we can do that, we want to try using the ring finger to do the same thing. So ring finger comes around and it's the same sort of motion. Let's try that again. Index finger, ring finger, pinky. And then once you've got that motion down, which is, it's very doable once you practice, and it's sort of easier with a slightly bigger coin. So for example, if I were to take I don't know, give me a coin, a £1 coin, it is doable with a £1 coin, but it's just a bit harder. So I'd recommend, recommend something like a 2p. This is me trying to do it with a 1p coin. It is doable, but I'd recommend a 2p coin or a euro because then it's a lot easier. Now the next thing, the hardest bit of this whole trick is the procedure of transferring pinky to thumb back to index. Like this first bit is quite easy, but the second stage is quite hard. And that's where kind of the practice and the knack really comes in. So what's happening? So we've got it on our ring finger. Now our pinky is going to grab it. And what our pinky is going to do is it's going to slide it round, and our thumb is then going to come around and pick it up. And our thumb is going to slide it all the way over to our index finger. So index, middle, ring, pinky grab, thumb comes across. And if you can sort of balance it in this sort of position, then that's helpful because then when your thumb comes around, it's sort of balanced, and then you just chuck it onto the index finger. Ring, middle, ring, pinky, thumb onto the index. middle, ring, pinky, thumb. And you'll see like the way that I'm doing it smoothly, it's like my thumb isn't actually like dragging it against my fingers, which is sort of what it does initially. My thumb is actually just like floating in midair. So if I do this, and this is what my thumb is doing. It's like sort of ferrying it in midair. 1, 2, 3, pinky grabs, thumb sort of takes it, floats along, and it comes over the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then the more and more you practice this, the more it sort of becomes second nature, and you can just like, you'll find yourself doing this just like whenever you grab a coin, it will just be like boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just almost becomes a subconscious thing. But it does take a hell of a lot of practice, especially to get this bit where your thumb is sort of grabbing it from the pinky and putting it back onto the index finger. Your thumb is grabbing it from the pinky and putting it back on the index finger. So, and if you're feeling really pro, let's zoom out. I think what I've seen some people do is do the hand-to-hand transfer. So let's try that. I don't think I've ever tried this. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great. I suppose if you want to avoid the thumb thing, you could just, you go 1, 2, 3, and then I think you just flick that onto your index finger. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I prefer just kind of doing it one-handed, and then you've got your other hand free to sort of do whatever you want. So you can kind of go on the computer and use the mouse and do all this sort of stuff while you're doing this coin thing. The only drawback of learning this knuckle coin roll is that inevitably at some point you will make that sort of sound. And when that happens enough, people get really annoyed because this is a really freaking annoying sound. So if you're doing it, if you're practicing it, I mean, so like when I was practicing this, the coins would fall onto the desk, onto the floor all the time. My mum and grandma would scream at me from downstairs to be like, Ali, stop dropping that coin. I'm not dropping a coin, I'm trying to learn a magic trick. It's not even a magic trick, but yeah. I'd recommend doing it on like a t-shirt or a piece of cloth so that you don't irritate everyone that you're quarantined with. If you're quarantined on your own, like I'm on my own at the moment because my housemate is out, and therefore I have no qualms about making that sort of sound. But if Molly was here, she'd be really pissed off if I was making that sort of sound. And then like the cool thing to do once you get into magic is you can start developing tricks that you can do impromptu with a coin. Like you can make it disappear, you can make it come back, you can do like a coin roll with it, you can do other disappearing-y things that look weird because you've got an overhead camera and no one ever sees an overhead camera. But yeah, you know, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with a coin if you're interested in learning coin magic. Basically, there's a website called Theory 11 and Illusionist. I'll put links in the video description. Theory 11 and Illusionist. But to be honest, like if you're just getting started out, there's so much stuff on YouTube these days that you can just kind of learn whatever you want just through YouTube, and then you can start buying DVDs and books and stuff. I've got a whole collection of magic DVDs and magic books that I've been sort of watching over time. But it's a cool little hobby to get into, and you can do it. Yeah, it's all good. So that was the coin roll. I hope you found that vaguely useful. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay socially distant, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.